After Linda got engaged, I handed in my resignation, using travel as an excuse. She raised an eyebrow and laughed softly. "Come back when you've had your fun." Greedily, I took in her face and simply hummed. She didn't know I wasn't coming back. My life started counting down the moment she got engaged. At an elite gathering, Linda clung to my arm and casually yet sincerely introduced me. "My brother wants to explore. Please look out for him." The chandelier's light cast a pure reflection on Linda's sharp profile. As a friend, she'd done more than enough. But deep down, my feelings were messy. Linda would never know the real reason I quit was that I fell for her. When the system brought me to this world, Linda was just an outcast, illegitimate daughter. She'd been pushed out of the power circle, managing only fringe businesses. I applied to be her secretary. On my first day, Linda was smoking, feet up on her desk. "Find another job. There's no future with me." I bent down, picked up the papers she tossed on the floor, and stacked them neatly. "The future is something you carve out yourself." Softly, I told her, "Linda, you're going to be amazing someday." She paused, staring at me with her dark eyes for what felt like forever, but didn't say anything. Outside, through the frosted glass, I watched Linda slumped in her chair. Her head tilted back, staring at the ceiling. Her eyes sparkled with a hidden moisture. That youthful confusion and vulnerability stuck with me for 10 years, from the first time we met until now. At Linda's engagement party, she placed me at the main table, too close to the bride. Her gown brushed before my eyes, revealing the subtle shine of the diamond ring on her finger. Linda and the groom had a business marriage, no real feelings involved. Putting me at the main table meant she acknowledged my place. Just not in a romantic way. The system told me if Linda doesn't marry me, I'd be erased. You could ask her. She'd say yes to you. I just smiled. Holding no love, marriage or not, it's her choice. Being with her for a decade didn't mean she owed me anything. I didn't like the pressure of "I was there, so you should love me back." The system sighed, its voice cold and mechanical. Blood-red numbers flashed vividly before my eyes. I only had 30 days left. Using travel as an excuse, I resigned to Linda. She read my resignation letter, her voice low. "No need to quit. Take a break, then come back." I nodded slightly. Maybe I was too pale enough for Linda to notice something was off. Her tone softened. "You've worked hard. Rest up. There will always be a place for you at the company." I smiled and agreed. Linda walked over, touched my face, and sighed. "You're getting too thin." Her voice was gentle. "Take care of yourself. Eat well." I quietly agreed. On the train, the system asked, "Why do you think Linda doesn't like you? She's crossed the line so many times." "It doesn't matter anymore." Coughing into my hand, I wiped away the blood with a tissue. Looking out the window, stars twinkling in my eyes, "I'm going to Dolly. I heard it's beautiful there, full of roses." Once, Linda and I were turned away by a business partner. That night, we huddled under a bridge, shivering and keeping each other warm. Her lips close to mine, she swore, "Philip, when I make it big, I'll take care of you. You'll live the good life." The smile faded from my face. Swallowing the bitter taste, a sense of regret hit me. I loved roses so much, yet I was going to die without having received a single one. Curled up, eyes red, I thought when I got there, I'd buy myself a huge bouquet of the brightest, most vulgar roses. The kind that instantly lifts your spirits. Slowly, I closed my eyes. Upon arriving, I saw a timid girl at the station, in a wrinkled suit, holding a sign for me. I paused, then walked over. She was Linda's supplier's assistant. Linda specifically requested you be well taken care of. Linda's connection with Dolly wasn't strong, so her getting things done took effort. I stared quietly for a few seconds and politely declined. "No need, I want to wander around alone." "Philip, you don't need to tell Linda. Just say I'm doing well, having fun. All is good." In my last month, I didn't want to drag her into anything. I found a bar to stay in. After living carefully for 2 lifetimes, I wanted to finally experience a reckless thrill at the end. When the bar was quiet during the day, I strolled around the town with an umbrella, stopping at a photo studio for a portrait. I wanted it edited so I looked paler, smiling gently with curved lips. A black and white photo, framed, to hold close to my chest while leaving a confused photographer behind. Before entering the book, I had died suddenly, a speeding car taking my life. Now, knowing my death was coming and planning for it felt bizarre. At night, amidst the cheap cocktail's aroma, I swayed, dancing to the music. Bodies brushing past, our arms touching or getting touched. I turned, gave a subtle smile, and continued the nightlife, uncertain about life and death. This month, I did everything I once wanted but couldn't. Having done it all, I grew tired quickly. So I lay in a rocking chair, gazing at the mountains and lakes, awaiting death. Linda called midway through, her tone gentle, asking how I was enjoying my time. I hadn't even spoken yet when I heard a deep voice on the other end of the phone. "You don't even bother to answer my calls." It was her fiancé. My blood ran cold instantly. I heard Linda coaxing gently and the man's light laughter. Suddenly, my blood warmed up and my heartbeat calmed down. I chuckled, "It's all good." Linda hung up the phone in a rush. Holding my phone, I stared blankly at the green waves ahead. Before the engagement, Linda didn't even know her fiancé. It's been a bit over a half-month. I once heard that people destined to love each other fall in love at first sight, define the relationship in 3 days, and in a week they're head over heels. I never believed it before, but now I can't seem to argue against it. My health is getting worse. I can feel life slipping away almost clearly. The blood in my veins was icy cold. Every cell screamed in agony. 50 meters from the bar, there's a stone bridge surrounded by red roses that fill the air with fragrance in Dolly's gentle breeze. Under the bridge is a rushing river, carrying dried petals to unknown depths. This is where I chose to end it all. I don't want to die in a hospital, tubes everywhere, lying alone on a white bed, waiting for death. One day, I received a gift from Linda. She sent me beautifully packaged wedding candies and a red invitation with her and her groom's names on it. The purple embossed box was filled with dark chocolate. I wiped the blood from the corner of my mouth, tore open the bag, and amid the metallic taste, put the chocolate into my mouth. Bitter yet rich. The first time Linda and I worked overtime, I had low blood sugar. She pulled a handful of vibrantly packaged candies from her drawer. "Have a few or you'll faint," she said. I shook my head, murmuring, "I'm on a diet used to skipping sweets." Her dark eyes stared at me for a moment. Then she smirked. "You're such a fuss." A few days later, she had a friend bring back some dark chocolate from abroad and pushed it to me. "Keep it around, it helps with dieting. Don't starve yourself, it's not good." The purple embossed wrapping reflected Linda's serious, focused face. It was the deepest memory I had in a decade. Finally, I felt like I belonged in this world again. Someone cared about me. I could feel joy and sorrow. I was living, truly living, in this world. Not a puppet controlled by fate, with no choice but to walk towards a doomed end. 8 days till my countdown to death. I got a call from Linda's assistant, Anna. The young person who had been with Linda for 7 years sounded polite and respectful. "Philip, when are you coming back? Some work needs immediate arrangement." I grabbed a handful of earth, tossed it carelessly skyward, and replied indifferently. "Arrange it as if I'm not coming back. Find someone to fill my spot." "Philip." Anna sounded troubled. She cautiously asked, "Are you not planning to return?" "Yeah." I told her not to inform Linda for now. I pressed my lips together. Anna was trained by me, was with Linda for 7 years, and stuck by me for 7. I wanted her to handle my affairs afterward. But I couldn't find the words. In the end, I just sighed. "I'll send you an email in a week. Follow its instructions." I gently told her, "Anna, keep up the good work, and if you get married, don't forget to burn some joss paper for me." I realized how bad that sounded and quickly stopped, offering her an apologetic smile, just letting her know to keep doing great, Anna. Maybe because I'm near death, I'm dreaming of past lives, dreaming of my dad. A suit outlining his elegant figure, like the brightest court dancer. A stark contrast to his eventual thin, frail frame, lying in a hospital bed, dried out like kindling. The woman he loved all his life, who he willingly became the third wheel for, never showed up by his bedside. Despite his countless calls, his hoarse voice begging her to come see him once, she just coldly said, "You deserve to die. Take your son with you, you'll only harm others alive." When she said this, I was sitting by the bed, peeling an apple. The knife slipped, cutting my pale fingertip. Blood flowed, which I wiped away blankly. I watched quietly, finding it all too ridiculous. Went downstairs to buy more apples. As soon as I hit the street, the red light turned on, and a drunk truck driver unconsciously hit the gas. Shattered glass reflected my body flying, and a terrified, panic-stricken face. In my last seconds, my mind was on that man. Without me, how could he live on? 3 days till my countdown to death. Maybe it was a resurgence. I suddenly felt strong enough to move. Wrapped in a long shawl, with some lip gloss and hairspray on, I wandered aimlessly down the cobblestone streets. A street vendor made sugar figurines, and a little boy gazed with envy, tugging his mother's sleeve. His mother, worn and weary, bent down, tears falling. "We need to save money for Daddy's treatment, sweetie." I moved closer, bought a panda sugar figure, handed it to the boy. He timidly looked up, a pale face, calling me brother. His mother thanked me frantically. I watched them walk away. Tired from wandering, I wanted to head back. Just as I turned, on the town hall steps, I saw the last face I wanted to see. Anna. She spotted me, excitedly running over. "Philip, Linda's inside, I'll take you in." I cut her off. "Why are you all here?" "There's a forum here Linda was invited to," Anna explained, then asked, "Philip, where are you staying?" I checked, "And you're not listed anywhere in town. Bars don't count as formal lodgings, and I can't remember if I registered or not." I tightened the shawl around me and slowly told her, "Anna, could you? Please don't tell anyone about what I'm doing here." "Don't tell who?" Linda's calm voice cut in. I stopped talking immediately. It seemed that just seeing Linda warmed up my aging organs, and my blood started flowing with warmth again, coursing through my veins, pulsing with my heartbeat. I stood there, head slightly raised, quietly looking at her. Hadn't seen her in a month. She hadn't changed. Still looked glamorous, full of life and energy. She looked at me and frowned. "How did you lose so much weight? Haven't been eating well?" I shook my head. "Maybe just not adjusting to the local stuff." "Haven't seen a doctor?" "No need, I'm fine." She raised her hand, trying to touch my head, and I turned away to avoid it. Her arm paused, then casually retracted. She smiled. "When do you plan to go back?" "In a couple of days." I looked down. "I really like it here, wanted to stay a bit longer." She nodded slightly. "Enjoy staying longer, relax a bit." She thought of something. Her eyes softened a bit. "When you're back, your brother-in-law and I will take you out for dinner." On the street, even the wind carried a hint of flowers. I easily picked out the rose's scent. I love roses because someone I loved did. At their most charming, they would pin a vivid red rose on their sweetheart's hair. And because that year, when Linda first came back home, amidst a crowd who dared not voice their displeasure, she reached out and snapped a red camaros her eldest sister had nurtured in a pot. Leaning against the table with a grin, she beckoned to me, "Philip, come here." Then, she placed the red rose in my palm. It was obvious, passionate, showing her preference for me in front of everyone. In that instant, I started to imagine if I could really marry her, stay by her side forever. I smiled a bit, pulled my shawl tighter, and gently asked, "And you? How long will you stay here?" 3 days. Linda reached up, ignoring my attempt to block her, feeling my forehead for the chilly coldness, her eyebrows knitted tightly. "Are you sure you're okay? Why are you so cold?" I shook my head. Linda stared at me for a moment, her tone serious. "Once we're back in Kyoto, I'll arrange for a full health checkup for you." I didn't refuse. Linda came over, pulled my hand, motioning for me to sit on a stone block. "Rest for a bit, then show me around, sound good? Where's your favorite place in Dolly? Take me there." My muddled brain just came up with an excuse to say goodbye, but Linda's smiling words interrupted, sending it back into turmoil. Panicked, I pushed her away, stood wrapped in my shawl with my pale, almost transparent skin meeting the sunlight. Linda, you do realize you're married. We shouldn't be doing this anymore. Linda paused, straightened, looking a bit indifferent. Regardless of whether I'm married or not, Philip, you'll always be the most important person to me. Always. Always, without any ties of blood or law, the most important. In an adult's world, those two words shouldn't go together. I looked up at Linda, her eyes smiling, and suddenly didn't want to play dumb with her any longer. I asked her, Linda, do you know I like you? Linda knew, of course she knew. I'm not a great actor. Couldn't hide my emotions. Couldn't mask my immense affection. They showed clearly through every gesture. A glance, an unfinished intonation, even in moments of hesitation. She knew but never responded. Linda's hand clenched involuntarily, forming a fist. She opened her mouth, but said nothing. I looked at her and softly said, Since you know, Linda, please don't appear in front of me anymore. Give me some time to rest, to forget the feelings I have for you. Could you? Linda left. On the empty street, only the rose-scented wind and children's noises remained. The taste of iron rose in my throat, the familiar smell of blood returning, and I gradually came back to myself, feeling my limbs and blood. I lied to Linda. I don't want to forget my feelings for her. My admiration for her is the only thing that makes me feel alive in this strange world. Keeps me alive, makes me feel like I'm still a person, not some monster made by code, existing solely for tasks. As the metallic tang in my throat sank down, I supported myself against the wall, slowly got up, and walked back to the bar. 2 days left on the countdown to death. In the morning, I squatted in a sea of roses, wrapped in my coat, digging hard at the soil. Someone patted my head. It was the bar owner's daughter. With clear and pure eyes and pale, almost transparent skin, she smiled, showing a little thong. At this delicate and romantic age, I didn't want to give her any psychological shadows. I dropped the spade, wobbled up, took 3 steps back, and asked her expressionlessly, What's up? She seemed a bit flustered, stretching out her arm with steaming buns in hand. Saw you up early, didn't have breakfast, bought some for you. Thank you. I smiled, turned her down. But I don't need it. Have some, it's not good for your health not to eat. I have someone I really like. I told her, I won't love anyone else in this lifetime. Bending down, I picked a rose and quietly plucked off its thorns, saying softly, Stay away from me. It's better for both of us. The girl ran off quickly, her eyes filled with brokenness and sorrow. The steamed bun lay on the ground, still warm, laced with the scent of roses. I bent down, picked it up, and after a brief moment, tossed it into the trash. I wrapped my coat tighter as I slipped back into the bar. The moment I stepped in, the atmosphere felt off. The boss lady's loud voice was missing. The clattering of washing glasses had disappeared, and everyone watched quietly, almost timidly glancing at the culprit by the bar, hands fiddling with a blue cocktail. It was Linda, with a tense-looking Anna beside her. I hesitated for a second, then approached, puzzled, asking, Why are you here? Linda looked up, smiling at me. Philip, she said softly, Anna told me you don't plan on going back? Her voice was gentle, but it gave me an inexplicable chill. I shivered slightly. The silence around was unnervingly quiet, making me anxious. I tightened my coat. Let's talk in the room, not here. The small, shabby room was lined with moss-covered walls, and the air was filled with the scent of decay. Linda sat on the single bed, looking around as she smirked slightly. Not going back? Planning to live here from now on? I handed a disposable cup to her. It's fine, livable. Linda let out a derisive snort, saying nothing, her attitude clear as day. She seemed on edge, her usual demeanor and politeness gone, her disdain and annoyance now obvious in her words. She took a deep breath, her tone stern. Why won't you come back? I don't want to, I said, clutching the paper cup. I've worked for so many years, I just want to relax a bit. I can give you a vacation, Linda said, keeping her anger in check. Philip, the company is something we built together. You can't just walk away. She was earnest and focused, as if genuinely trying to convince me not to leave. But I felt powerless. Does she have to strip away my last bit of dignity to be satisfied? I looked at her, asking, Linda, you want me to stay and watch you and your husband be all cozy? I interrupted her. I'm telling you I can't. And your husband wouldn't let me stay by your side either. Let me go, Linda, for both our sakes. Let me peacefully fade away in Dolly, amongst the sea of roses, breathing in the strongest scent, ending this unwanted life. Linda fell silent. After a while, she straightened and touched my head with a trace of helplessness in her voice. Philip, you've been the most important person in my life. Just say the word, and I'll give you anything. 10 years. A lifetime. How many 10 years do we have? Are you really willing to let go of all those ties? Her words sounded noble, accusing me of being unkind and ungrateful while lowering herself to evoke sympathy. Classic Linda, who defeated 3 industry giants with her rhetoric to become famous. I raised my head, watching as my gaze traveled from her defined jawline to her slender profile, then to her eyes that held a hint of longing. She looked at me, filled with emotion. I found it absurd. I leaned in and asked her slowly, Linda, do you really not understand what it means for me to return, or stay by your side? You know I like you, and you know that as your secretary of 10 years, my position will be awkward once you're married. Yet you pretend not to see or understand, blaming me for being heartless. A nearly absurd thought crossed my mind. She knew it all. She was just playing dumb, not willing to give up the benefits of a political marriage, but also not wanting to lose the tenderness I provided. She was waiting for me to willingly break all morals and conscience, bow down at her feet. I looked her in the eyes and asked softly, Linda, what do you want me to be to stay by your side forever? An unrelated brother? A secretary closer than a husband? Or an unseen secret lover? Her face turned pale instantly, panic replacing her usual calm eyes. She had actually thought about it. She wasn't as noble as I imagined. I chuckled quietly. Using all my strength, I raised my hand and slapped her, watching her stumble back. Her innocent act shattered as bile and sorrow churned in my throat. Wiping the blood from my lip, I stared at her coldly. You want it all, don't you, Linda? That's sick. Linda hung her head, silent for a long time. Eventually, she spoke softly. I'm sorry. I had no intention of making you my lover. However, I can't deny that when considering keeping you by my side forever, the thought crossed my mind. I am sorry for having such a vile idea. But Philip, wanting to keep your heart is sincere. You have been the most important person to me and always will be. I closed my eyes and let out a bitter laugh. Linda, do you think no matter what you do, I'll never leave? That I'll always follow you willingly, being your unrequited shadow? When she agreed to the arranged marriage, she didn't expect me to be so resolute in leaving. She might have known I'd be sad, but thought I'd simply cry a bit. Then she'd coax me back and things would go back to normal. Because my loyalty was unquestionable, she didn't feel the need to worry. It was all so laughably naive. Linda remained silent, softly saying, in these 10 years, I faced so much betrayal. They all used me as a stepping stone. But you, from start to finish, stayed with me. Before the engagement, I didn't realize you'd care so much about it to the point of leaving. Philip, if canceling the engagement would make you stay, I'd do it in a heartbeat. Only when she realized I truly intended to leave did Linda attempt to reconcile. She subtly used negotiation skills, watching my reactions carefully, pondering how to achieve her goal while maximizing gain. Growing up in an orphanage, lacking basic moral education, she might still not understand why a marriage without emotional grounding, bounded merely by legal papers, would make me so determined to leave. I forced a smile. Linda suddenly reached out and grabbed my wrist. Despite my struggles, she pushed up my sleeve and revealed the scar on my elbow. What was once a fierce, deep wound was now just a thin line. Her fingers gently traced over it, and she spoke softly. Philip, in this position I have countless ways to keep you. Threats, captivity, even intimidation. You care about too many people and things. If I hold even one of them, you'll never break free. But I don't want to do that. As she touched the scar on my elbow, her expression softened. You took that knife from me back then, and I swore I'd never let anyone bully you again. Not even me. Her dark eyes locked onto mine, her voice soft yet firm. So, Philip, I'll ask you one last time. Will you come with me? I stared at her, from her lips to her nose, and finally to those expectant eyes. Linda's eyes were beautiful, slightly upturned at the corners, always glistening, full of charm and temptation. From the first moment I saw her, I was drawn in by her eyes and then plunged into an abyss. Only now do I realize that Linda, a cold and ruthless capitalist, has nothing worth loving. I leaned in and told her slowly, I won't. Shielding Linda from that knife was a long time ago. She was just in her early 20s then, still a bit naive. That day, we were sealing a deal and got ambushed. Her sister blatantly sent people to knock us out and throw us into a dark alley. There, 4 rough women were ordered to ruin me and chop off one of Linda's hands. It was a stormy night. The thugs yanked my hair, pushing my head into the water, my consciousness fading, vision blurred, pain and despair nearly killing me, until I saw the cold glint of a knife. Without much thought, I struggled, lunged, and took that hit for Linda. Sirens wailed, and we survived. I woke up in the hospital in Linda's tight embrace. Her tears soaked through my clothes, chilling my chest. From that day on, Linda changed. She wasn't nice anymore, ruthless and terrifying, became a true businesswoman. When she planned to marry, she told me it was strategic. Jason's family held influence abroad. She needed their power to rise higher. I asked her, so even marriage is just a transaction? Linda smiled, why not? Why not? Facing Linda, soaked in power and money, I couldn't argue. My genuine perspectives looked childish to her, not worth mentioning. Linda guarded me like a prisoner. 4 bodyguards took turns outside my door, keeping me in. Every time I approached the exit, I'd see their anxious faces. They'd say, if you leave, we'll lose our jobs. Please, Philip, have mercy. Their pleading voices, coming from burly guards, were oddly dissonant and successfully held me back. Linda was right. I had too many weak spots. Any one of them seized, and I'd be trapped. I couldn't leave, so I talked with the system. Confused, it asked, isn't marrying her the simple solution? Just say it, she wouldn't let you die. I smiled. Blood that's become routine rose in my mouth, swallowed it, and wiped my lips. Softly, I said, if I wanted to marry, why wait till now? Even initially, telling Linda would ensure I'd never die. She'd do everything to keep me. Put on the biggest wedding, show everyone her love, sparing no expense to save me. From the start, I could live. But I never wanted to. The system was stunned. Static buzzing before it asked. Why? You know why Linda's so sure I won't leave her? Because of this darn mission. I came into this world for Linda, spent a decade orbiting her. Leaving her means death, so I'm forced to always follow, loyal as a dog. But those are the mission's demands. Yeah, it's mission demands, the price for my existence. I shifted topics. Do you think these missions have a purpose? We gave you another chance at life in exchange for data. Fair, right? Yeah, fair. Survival instincts are ingrained. The mission gave me that chance. I should be grateful. But why is there only oppression in it? 10 years I revolved around Linda for a decade. No freedom, no autonomy. Everything I do wasn't for me, but for Linda. An almost nightmarish existence. Linda said everyone left her, except me. But, Linda, I've thought of betraying you, leaving you, using you as a springboard, climbing higher. But it never went beyond a thought. This life was borrowed. All I could do was stay by you. No real choice. I loathe this life. Living half a life without dignity, freedom, choice, I'd rather choose death. After a while, the system whispered, but no matter what, living matters most. As long as you're alive, there's hope. I know. I chuckled. That's why I hoped Linda would want to marry me. Hoped I'd mean more than her profits and calculations. Hoped her genuine feelings offered me a reason to submit to this sad fate. But in the end, I'm still disappointed. In this lonely world, I found no pure sincerity. I'm so tired. I don't want to suppress myself anymore. Just go with this ridiculous fate. Honestly, death seems like a release for me. On the last day, I woke up late. I got dressed, grabbed the hoe, and went to the rose field by the bridge. The bodyguards tried to stop me, but I called Linda right in front of them. Her voice was gentle. Have you figured it out? Linda, come meet me at the stone bridge by the bar. I whispered, I have something to tell you. Linda paused, then answered with a hint of excitement. Okay. Truth is, in my current state, I can barely hold the hoe. I struggled, dragging myself downstairs. The lady's daughter couldn't bear to see it and took the hoe over. Where are you going? I'll take you there, she offered. I thanked her. Linda's engagement party was at noon. My time would end at noon too. The golden sun shone on the bridge, glimmering on the stone railing. The young woman handed me the hoe, looking worried. Are you sure you're okay? I shook my head, forced a pale smile, and thanked her. Pain racked my body, almost curling me up against the bridge post, sweat trickling down. My vision blurred. I bit my lip, mingling the blood from my mouth with that from my lips. I felt so cold. I took a moment to steady myself, stood up with the help of the bridge, and wiped away the sweat and blood. I forced myself to loosen the rose soil with the hoe, then bent down to kiss the thorny stems. In the corner of my eye, Linda appeared on the other side of the bridge. She walked quickly to me. Why do you look so pale? Didn't rest well? She held me, eyes full of undisguised worry, as if I was truly precious to her. I dropped the hoe on the ground. The countdown clock was glaring red, the hour column already empty. My life was ticking down by the second. Leaning on Linda's body for support, I looked at her hypocritical face and suddenly laughed. No one knows better than me. Beneath that pretty face is such a cold and ruthless heart. Softly, I began, Linda, did you know? These past 2 days, I've been regretting ever approaching you. You're so selfish, so vile, so shameless. Everyone's kindness to you is just a tool for you to use and trade. Philip. She was stunned. What are you saying? I stood up straight, faced the wind, and looked at her fiercely. I say you're shameless, despicable, vile. No matter how you pretend, it can't hide the darkness inside. If given another chance, I definitely wouldn't want to meet you. Definitely wouldn't. Linda's calm facade began to crack, revealing a cruel interior. She shook me. Philip, you knew what kind of person I am. I'm selfish, I'm heartless, but I never used those tricks against you. Without being ruthless, I wouldn't have survived till now. Philip, you know this best. Why? Why are you blaming me? Why are you leaving me too? Her eyes were red, holding onto me tightly, her chin resting on my shoulder, tears flowing onto my clothes. Just like when I took that knife for her years ago. We've gone through so much together. Philip, why are you denying everything between us? You're so important that I'd do anything for you. Philip, why be so cruel to me? Cruel? But Linda, these are just words. Not breaking bones or tendons. Nothing like the torment fate put me through. My hatred for fate found no target, so I placed it on you. Anyway, you're not innocent. My voice softened. I patted her shoulder and gently asked, will you marry me, Linda? Her body turned rigid, perhaps weighing pros and cons at that moment. I smiled slightly, interrupting her thoughts. No rush. Take your time thinking about it. I swallowed the bitterness, watching the numbers in the corner of my vision count down to 0. Give me a moment alone, Linda. Go back and think things through, arrange everything, then come find me. I'll always be here waiting, never leaving. Forever. The word, forever, was spoken like a blood-stained promise against the bright red numbers in my vision, conflicting painfully. I gave Linda an unreal dream, cherished in her hands like a treasure, until the day it shattered. I sent Linda away. Her clothes were a mess, her neck and shoulders stained with my blood, but she was too flustered to notice. Linda will marry me. She has feelings for me. She just needs time to think and weigh things carefully. But I don't need such a weighed heart. Leaning against the stone post, Blood trickled from my mouth, spreading to my neck and shirt. When I die, Linda's expression should be interesting. She'd break down, cry, and grieve, forever haunted by her brief hesitation. This isn't revenge. I don't hate Linda. I just, spitefully, hope that no matter who she ends up with, a part of her heart will always have a spot for me. Even if it's regret, remorse, or a haunting shadow. I smiled. Thought about my father, who shamelessly got involved in others' marriages too. I guess we weren't that different after all. I wobbled to the edge of the bridge, standing against the rushing river, breathing in the rose-scented breeze. Red roses are my favorite. If no one else gets me any, it's fine. I can buy them myself, place them by my bed, and sleep with their fragrance. Fate tried to take my dignity, my worth tied to Linda. I can't change that, and it's okay. I can choose to stand here and die like a person, rather than live as a ghost. 10 seconds left on the countdown. I spread my arms, embracing the blazing sun and the breeze, facing the rushing river and swirling sand. Smiling, I leap. Let me live a dream I never wake up from. In the dream, I am free and passionate, walking proudly in the sunlight. Not for anyone else, just for myself. To learn, to read, to fall in love, to give speeches, to compete, to do whatever I want. Meet anyone I wish, sing any song I like. No systems, no tasks, no so-called strategies, and no life randomly erased. A life lived vibrantly, just for me. The end. Bonus. Linda. Philip is dead. It's chaos outside, surrounded by cops. I'm standing at the edge of the crowd, hearing that familiar name, squinting at Anna. They said, "Who died?" Anna's face turns pale, and she drops to her knees, covering her eyes, tears pouring through her fingers. I stare at her, confused. Why is she crying? Who's dead? Philip? No way. He can't be dead. It's impossible. Suddenly, I bolt past the police line, rushing to see the swollen, pale corpse from the river. The white cloth lifts. I see a waterlogged face, swollen, ugly, yet hauntingly familiar like a nightmare. Staggering, I collapse onto the muddy ground. My palm digs into the gravel, slicing it open. I think I'm bleeding, but I don't care. I mumble. Already chubby, now even uglier. Wake up, please. I don't mind, okay? I'm barely aware, crawling to him on instinct, my trembling fingers touching his face. Tears spill uncontrollably. Holding his head, I look to the sky, wailing. That scene was chaotic and eerie. I cried like a child, almost suffocating, my head buzzing until I collapsed on him, unconscious. Waking up in the hospital, Philip is the first word I say as I open my eyes and spot the hand offering water. My heart relaxes, and I take deep breaths. I tell him, "I just had a dream where you died. Isn't that funny?" The hand pauses. Anna stands by the bed, hesitant. I sense something's off and glance around. Jason, my fiancé, is there. Philip is nowhere in the room. Clink. The water cup falls, shattering, glass piercing deep, bleeding profusely. Jason apologizes. Philip committed suicide. Linda, don't be too sad. Sad? I laugh. No, I'm not sad. Swallowing the blood from my bitten lip, I tremble and fiercely tell them, I won't grieve for him. Suicide. Philip, was this your way to spite me? Wake up, you're dreaming. I swallow the bloody taste in my mouth, regaining calm, instructing Anna. The engagement proceeds. We go back now. But ma'am, no buts. I glare at her viciously. Go now. Immediately. I need to leave this damn place. Philip wanted me to marry him, promised forever. Then died? Was this to make me regret, to get back at me? Utterly ridiculous. You're dead. Yet I keep thriving, surrounded by admirers. Better looking, simple, big eyes, tall bridged noses, variety abounds. While you lay in the rotting earth, chewed by worms. The one who should regret, the one who should pay, is you. You. Fuming. I sweep everything off my desk, including the succulent Philip bought, his favorite pen, the vase he arranged. Amid the mess, I slump in my chair, covering my eyes to hide the tears about to fall. Philip, you can't punish me. I'll never regret it. Never. I deliberately erased him from my life. Anna, Jason, no one else talks about him. I won't allow it. For a while, Philip completely vanished from my life. Everything's neat and orderly. The secretary replacing him is diligent, making better coffee, prettier latte art. Anna's quieter, but still precise. The engagement progresses, venue, officiant, all set. My family booked several celebrities, no losing face here. Everything's normal, moving smoothly. I stand by the window, holding a cigarette, talking to the glass. Without you, I'm fine, life and work unchanged, still thriving. See, the one who should regret, it's you. The clean glass reflects my weary face, all alone. Suddenly, my eyes redden. I thought without reminders, I'd forget him gradually, cover all traces of him. I thought forgetting would be easy, until Jason took me to try on suits. I tagged along, nothing else planned. Jason came out all dressed. A quick glance from shoes upward. Something felt off. Legs longer, waist slimmer, face a bit fuller, eyes tilted, wrong lip color. I suddenly realized, who am I thinking of? Breathing heavy, I walked out, ignoring Jason calling me. I got in the car, gripping the wheel, closing my eyes to calm my heart. Just this morning brushing my teeth, I thought, it's rare to think of him. Maybe I've almost forgotten. But why does he haunt me like a ghost, infiltrating everywhere? Suddenly resentful, I mashed the gas pedal, racing down the mountain road with windows wide open, wind slapping my sweaty forehead awake. Philip used to join me here for fast drives whenever I was down. Even gripping the seatbelt so tight, fingers white with fear, he acted brave. Back then, he said to me, everything will pass, look forward. Yes, everything will pass. 8 including forgetting you. I parked the car on top of the hill and crouched down. Looking at the morning glory by my feet, I chuckled, pulling it out of habit and handing it behind me. You always liked these weeds, didn't you? No one took it from me. I froze, as did the wind in my ears. Even the river down the cliff seemed frozen. The blood in my veins turned icy in an instant. I blamed it all on nostalgia. Right after the wedding, I took my assistant abroad. Jason's rapid-fire calls were getting on my nerves. I picked up one on a whim. I don't care about your crap, so don't bother me. Jason clammed up. In this business, who is clean, really? I gave a bitter laugh. It was the right time to explore new markets abroad. I was working a lot, staying late, and crashing in the office. My assistant lost 10 pounds before she couldn't take it anymore and asked for time off. I looked at her sallow face and inevitably thought of him again. The first 3 years were tough. He stayed late with me, worked even harder, and sometimes complained about hair loss. Go on. I told her with a pale face. Get some rest. Outside the floor-to-ceiling window, the city was bustling with life. He liked those windows, said they made everything open and bright. So, I decorated every place I went to in that style. The Paris wind was always damp, with a scent of rain and dew. Smelling it reminded me of how he hated humidity and always kept dehumidifying bags handy. He never came to Paris with me, but standing on the Champs-Élysées, everything seemed to reflect him. His laughter, his mischief, the way he'd sway my hand asking for ice cream. Yet when I bought the priciest ice cream and turned to give it to him, he wasn't there. His silhouette, his playful nature were just figments in my mind I couldn't shake. The ice cream had mostly melted, sticky on my hands. I quietly watched it, then took a lick. So sweet. Aren't you on a diet? This ice cream is super sweet. How can you eat it? Will you wake up and tell me? Wake up and I'll invest in sugar-free tea, yogurt, even open a sugar-free factory for you. Whatever you want as long as you wake up. Okay? Tears came before I knew it, and my nose tingled. Tears streaked my face. I couldn't be bothered to wipe them. Suddenly, all of it felt pointless. Trying hard to forget him, desperately proving he was just an ordinary guy, that his death wouldn't affect me. Covering up my fragile pride. But who buys it? Anna, Jason, even business partners won't mention him. They pity me with their eyes. Pity. Me who's gotten this far, pitted by others. Ridiculous. I crouched, clutching my hollow chest, feeling lost and hurt. Tears, thin and salty, slipped into my mouth, the bitterness reaching my heart. Lifting my gaze, I thought I saw Philip. Wrapped in a shawl, he stood there, examining me for a moment. He reached out with a pale hand. Feeling wronged, I refused to take it, just staring, hoping he'd comfort me, talk to me. But he drew his hand back, shook his head, his voice gentle yet chilling. Linda, no one waits for you forever. He vanished in an instant. I lunged for him, landing hard on the marble floor, forehead bleeding, glasses broken, dizzy and reaching hopelessly, bumping into poles, stones, stumbling into bug-filled bushes. Finally, kneeling there, face up, blood and tears mixing, desperate, they seeped into my mouth. Everyone said time heals all. I believed them. Since that night in Paris, Philip has been a taboo. No one talks about him. Immersed in work, as though being busy would numb the pain. I spent a decade climbing higher and higher. From the top of the corporate ladder with floor-to-ceiling windows beneath my feet lay wealth, power, countless flattery, and admiration. 10 years. I thought if I saw Philip again, I could greet him casually. See, without you, I'm doing just fine, married, successful. He stood there, in a white suit, quietly watching me. Then he stepped forward, catching my dress with a finger. I crumbled instantly. Years of experience told me to control emotions, never let anger, joy, greed, or desires show. But holding him, tears wouldn't stop, pouring down. My arms locked tightly, trying to absorb him, to never let him go, to pocket him forever. I regretted it. I truly regretted it. He repeatedly said there were things far more important than profit in life. I ignored him, refused to believe it, arrogantly pushed him away, drove him to his death. He should hate me, blame me, despise me, crush my bones to dust if he wished. I'd take it as long as he got his anger out. Yet, with all the offerings to gods and spirits, could I shamefully hope for another chance in the next life? A life with you, would that be okay? After dreary days, I wandered to Dolly. Standing by the bridge he jumped from, lost in thought. He was afraid of the cold. What was he thinking to leap into that icy river? Afraid of pain, I wondered if, as water filled his lungs, he curled up wanting to call for help, scream out. I climbed over the bridge, gazing at the river below, wrapped in white waves and rose petals, jagged rocks everywhere. I seemed to see him, his closed eyes and smiling lips. Opening my arms, I fell. I took a step forward, feeling weightlessness crash against my mind. Dizziness took over. 10 years I was alone in this world for 10 years. Time hasn't erased my feelings for him. Instead, every word he said, every smile, every move, they've become vivid in my mind, crystal clear. In these 10 years, every time I woke up in the middle of the night, every time I was haunted by nightmares, I'd curl up, holding his photo, murmuring about what we once had. Philip once told me, no one can't live without someone else. Back then, I nodded in agreement. But now I want to tell him, that's not true. Without you, I really can't live. So, in the next life, have some pity on me. Okay?